Hi guys, very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us for this session today. We're going to talk about some really interesting things all around career development. We're going to start off the session real quick. We're just going to wait for a few minutes for a few more members, for a few of you guys to join us. But until then, please say a quick hello in the chat section. Tell me your name, where you're from, what you're studying, and what your future plans are, right? I'm Malvika, and with me I have Vaibhav. Uh, we are
So
both we are both from iSchool Connect, and we'll be walking you through some really interesting things about career development. Yeah.
I request you all to ask as many questions during the session. It's going to be very interactive. We'll have a lot of polls. We'll have a lot of we'll discuss a lot of current trends which are going on, industry trends, economic trends, how that's going to impact you, how that's going to impact your future, how you can mitigate that risk through communication, through various channels, through various skill development, and we'll discuss a lot around jobs. We'll discuss a lot around higher education. So feel free to ask any questions during the session. We are there to answer all of them.
Absolutely. And in the last minute, go ahead and share the meeting link with your friends if you feel they will also benefit from it, and have them also join in. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Another few seconds and we'll start.
Hello Ashish. Hello Shashank. Welcome to have you here. Cool. Malvika, probably we can have a quick round of introduction. Tell us something about ourselves. What backgrounds do we have come from, so that our audience have some confidence around that they are around
Sure.
credible people. So I'll begin. My name is Vaibhav. I head alliances and marketing for iSchool Connect. I recently, not recently, but I am graduate and did my masters, my MBA in marketing and finance. I'm a dual major, and I've been working with iSchool Connect and several other corporates for close to about 6 years. I, along with Malvika, do a lot of career development webinars and sessions. So pleasure interacting with you.
Wonderful. That's a stellar profile. And Weber, just like you, yes, I've also done an MBA. So guys, I'm Alvika. I am a Punjabi. I was raised in the South, and I went ahead and pursued an MBA after doing a bachelor's in a triple degree, that's in psychology, literature, and management. I hold a President's Gold Medal as well. And my passion is marketing, and of course, to talk about career to all you aspirants out there. So that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great to have you, Jay. You're pursuing an MCA. Welcome to have you on board. Looking forward to interacting with you. Malvika, that's great. We can actually begin.
Yeah, I think we should start off. Once again, welcome all of you. Thank you so much for joining this session with us. We are going to be talking about some really interesting things around career development. And I request you to shoot as many questions as you have in the Q&A section or in the chat section, and we'll try and take up most of them, yeah, towards the end. So I'm going to start off with a quick question. And the question is, what do you think is your next move? Right? So we are going to have a poll. It's pretty simple. You've got to think and tell. Probably my next move is to go ahead and pursue higher education, or no, I want to work for a while. And maybe some of you are just not sure at the moment, which is absolutely fine, right? So
I personally would be very cautious. COVID-19 and things are very cluttered these days. I personally feel that I would like to wait and watch, and probably I would probably wait for this session and look forward to us guys giving clarity to these students.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is if you want to look at things from an optimistic perspective, you've got to understand that this is a great time to have at hand and to make the most of it by making the right decisions, right? So evaluate. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds to quickly answer this poll and we'll go ahead. All right, let's look at the results. Brilliant. So a couple of you say you want to go ahead and study, which is amazing. Nothing like academics and amping up your profile. Some of you say, yes, I want to go ahead and work, which is again brilliant. You want to step ahead and you want to join in a good corporate, or you want to start up something of your own. Again, great choice. And some of you are not sure, which is absolutely fine, which is absolutely natural. Through this, presentation, through this dialogue that we're going to have, let's try and understand, what you can make as a possible choice. All right. So before I head to the next slide, I'm going to ask you to think and tell me some of the most important aspects of your profile that you need to have, whether you're going ahead and studying or you're going ahead and pursuing, a corporate career. What do you think should your profile have, in totality? Maybe academics is one thing, but apart from that, how do you build a holistic profile? Go ahead and tell me in the chat section, and I'm waiting for your answers.
Guys, feel free to reply as an anonymous if you are a little hesitant, but try to speak out your mind, try to bring in as many ideas. Let's make it as interactive as possible. If any one of you wants to speak up, you can raise your hand and we can allow that person to speak and share his thoughts through a voice as well. So if anybody wants to speak, we'll be happy to share the voice controls to that individual. Meanwhile, you can share your thoughts in the chat section. What do you think is a good profile? Vishal says work experience is important for a good profile. Okay.
Ishitva is saying projects. Yes, projects are also equally important. What else do you think should your profile have? Upgrading skills. Yes, Shashank. It's so important to not just have a degree. It's so important to, ramp it up with certificates or different kind of internships. Yes, Pranisha has said internships. That, of course, acts as an aspect of work experience. You would like, Ashish says he would like to learn new technologies and simultaneously would like to do business.
Entrepreneurship, that's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Technology is the way to go in the current century. Believe me, we're going to talk about that a little more in detail. Hitesh says research publication, projects, internships. Absolutely. If you're doing all of that, you're on track. So we're going to go ahead and look at the few important aspects that we feel that you must concentrate on if you really want to have an edge over all the others, right? So the first one we feel is academics. Very plain, very simple. It's a fundamental of everything. But if you really want to push things further, then you have got to take it up by, certificates. For example, you've done a bachelor's in engineering, but now you're looking at, a more holistic career. For example, you want to do you want to be working as an administrative personnel, or you want to be in management as well. Then what are the certifications you've taken up? Right? Are you looking at Google Analytics? Are you looking at HubSpot CRM? Are you trying and ramping up through all these different trainings available? So that is also equally important, right? Your marks, your scores, yes. Plus, what have you done extra to show your interviewer, to show the university that you want to study in that, look, I have gone ahead and out of my own passion, I have studied all of this. Next is the forefront of everything is soft skills. Now, I know for you it might seem like, oh, it's okay, right? I'm good in academics. Why should I need soft skills? It is as important to be able to communicate what you feel. It is important to understand the basic etiquettes, the need of the hour, no matter where you are, be it a corporate or be it higher education. For instance, if you are in a corporate space, believe me, one of the first thing interviewers look at is your soft skills. Will you be able to gel in with the team? Will you be able to interact and explain yourself to the other person? Are you punctual? Are you honest? Are you sincere? You've got to start evaluating yourself. Are you coming across as a truthful person? So there's so many things that need to be kept in mind when it comes to soft skills. So definitely,
Organizational fit and cultural fit are the most sought after skills when it comes to corporate HR. So a recent study of 1,000 plus top 1,000 company HRs say that they look for more soft skills than technical or hard skills in an employee. Even for software developers, they are looking for learnability, adaptability, good communication skills, and all these come under soft skills. So
definitely,
try to focus upon those as well.
definitely, that's right. Next, we have persona. Now, a lot of you are ready to, take up a job. A lot of you are looking at higher education. Now, this is a time to add that finesse, not just on the inside intellectually, but even on the outside, right? For instance, if you're looking at being in the corporate space, then there's a certain decorum to even dress up, right? Maybe a shirt tucked in with trousers, matching your shoes with your belt. These are some very basic things. Go ahead and maybe do a quick Google, check out a few basic YouTube videos on how to dress up formally. Right, goes for both boys and girls. And the most important thing is to look fresh, to wear that smile on your face when you greet people, and to be that person who is looking welcoming for others to come and talk to. Right, so that's also equally important. Another important aspect, like a lot of you mentioned, is experience. So experience comes in various forms. It comes in the form of internships, it comes in the form of jobs that a lot of you are looking at, pro bono work that you can do, some kind of volunteering that you can do with companies. So again, supremely important. For instance, you're looking at an MBA. There I would recommend that you go ahead and definitely gather a few months or at least a year of work experience. Especially important for a few universities, some top universities. Some universities of course say that it's all right, but definitely in the form of part-time internships you should definitely get a hang of the corporate space. Next is something that's really different, I'm sure, from what you've generally heard about career development, and that is LinkedIn. Now, how does LinkedIn help you? There are so many things you can do in this space. The first one being networking with the right people, right? So connect with people who are like-minded. For example, you enjoy marketing. Connect with marketing managers, connect with professors in the space of marketing. And if you're looking at studying in a certain university, see if you can connect with people who are looking at going to the same university. Another thing you can do is find mentors, right? Through LinkedIn or otherwise. Always have a mentor who you can go back and talk to and tell that, you know what, this is where I stand. This is where I want to be the next 3 months, 1 year. Do you think my profile has it to be there, right? And maybe once in a month, once in a quarter, connect with this mentor connect with your mentor and tell them and talk to them, right? That's another thing. And of course, lastly, try and write articles maybe even small snippets about your perception, your opinion in your area of work. Suppose you're interested in data science, right? Uh, Go ahead, talk about it, share your opinions. The least you can do is, if you find an exciting article on the internet, go ahead and share the link and say, hey, I found this really interesting piece. This is my opinion about it. What do you guys think? Create that interaction. And that's how you build your LinkedIn network. And of course, after this session, do not forget to update your LinkedIn profiles as well, right? So that's equally important. Now, the next one is again an offbeat suggestion, but so important in the current day and age that we are living in. Social media is not just for memes and cat videos and dog videos, right? It can be so much more. Now, suppose you enjoy marketing, you enjoy, data science, and you love the facts that come with these, fields of studies. Create content around it, curate content around it, and you can use these platforms to show people how much you've learned about these different studies in different areas of knowledge. And that again will definitely add to your profile, be it for higher education or be it for a job, right? Another important thing is extracurricular. Now, it can be anything. It can be cooking or dancing or writing. But what people will see, will take from this is the consistency with which you have gone ahead and pursued this passion, right? So if you tell them that I've been into cooking and I hold a diploma in baking and I've been pursuing it since the past 5 years. Here's my Instagram page that's all about 5-minute recipes. Wow, what an impression you'll create with that, right? So
And
that's how.
it shows initiative taking. It shows a lot many things. You are not only restricted to your specific domain. You go
Yes,
beyond. You take initiatives. It shows that you are adaptable and you can work in any situation.
yes,
Co-curricular activities is something people not might you might not take seriously. Students might not take seriously, but today's great corporates pay importance to what, apart from academics, you have done. Institutions, all major foreign institutions, if you want to study abroad, or even if you're applying for a CAT or an MBA, they pay much importance to whether you know a musical instrument, whether you know have proficiency in any form of dancing. If you like to sketch or paint, they definitely pay importance to extracurricular activities.
definitely, definitely. And the last one we have here is to associate yourself with a social cause, right? Of course, for your own joy, for your own happiness, I think it brings in a lot of peace when you help someone, when you touch other lives and you create an impact. But from a career standpoint as well, be it universities or be it corporates, when they realize that they are associating themselves with someone who is grounded and humble and wants to give back to the society, that again creates a brilliant impact. Right? There are multiple organizations, NGOs with whom you can work, be it through volunteering in the NGO, or you could even take up developing their website or developing their social media page. Just by sitting at home as well, you can help and create an impact, right? So there are multiple options available today in this digital age. It's just a matter of intent and going about it, right? So those are few of the different aspects we feel that you should definitely consider ramping up to make your application stand out. All right. So next, we're going to talk about the big question. Should I go ahead and pursue my studies or should I go ahead and work? Now, this is something we'll talk in detail over the coming slides, but I need you to understand one thing, and that is it is your choice at the end of the day. It is you who has to evaluate your profile, your career goals, and think about where do I want to be in the coming years, in the next 5 years, and say that, okay, if this is my goal, then what is the reverse engineering I need to do over these 5 years that are going to culminate into that goal. Am I supposed to study further? Am I supposed to have a certain work experience? What should I do first? What have people in this space done? Go and look at managers' profiles. Go and look at their LinkedIn accounts and see what have they done, right? So we're going to go ahead and understand this a little more in terms of what's happening in the industry and the impact of COVID as well, right? So of course, COVID has had an impact on all our lives, and of course, quarantine, all of us are sitting here at home, but making the most use of it because we're trying to evaluate ourselves, our profiles. From an education standpoint, international education standpoint, the intake is going to be seamless for 2021. At the moment, yes, universities have gone online, again making sure that students do not have to face any kind of challenge. So that's absolutely seamless there. Tests have gone online, so if you're looking at taking any of the tests, definitely start practicing with the online tools, right? Be it even the scratchpad with which you're supposed to work, because when you start working on the online scratchpad, the functionality is different, and getting your hands on it, being instinctive with it, is supremely important, right? From a career, from a corporate standpoint, from job standpoint, you need to understand which industries are thriving, right? You need to understand what is happening in terms of the recession and how will it impact you, or even if it will impact you or not, right? So here's what we have to say about that. Now, some of the top economists have gone ahead and said that recession will be unlike any other. And it will, of course, it's not going to be like the Great Depression of 1929, but economies are going to be a lot more resilient and they will bounce back very soon. And here are a few statistics that you can look at and evaluate for yourself. Right?
This was a recent study by BBC, by several economists across the BBC, and you might see that major global economies see a decline and see a recession in 2020. But see the graph in 2021. There's a huge jump in annual GDPs of all major global economies, including India, which actually showcases that the recession will be there, but it will be for a very shorter duration, and economies will definitely bounce back in upcoming years. So there might be a little trouble for a short-term duration, but you need not worry. The job market, the education market, the economies, the liquidity in the economy will soon bounce back in 2021. So that's a positive news. This is a key takeaway from this entire webinar, that the things to worry about are very limited, and even if there are things to worry about, it will be very short-lived. So smile, be happy, and think positive for the upcoming future.
Definitely, that's right. And adding to that, right, another important aspect that you need to keep in mind is environment, is sustainability. Now, we've all seen these pictures, we've all read the news that, the flamingos are coming back to the Mumbai ponds. There are more fishes in the lakes, and things are so much more nicer environmentally as well. But what do you take away from this? You have to take away a very simple fact that the millennials and the forthcoming generations, they are all looking at sustainable businesses. And when you choose a company and you choose a career for yourself, you need to understand, will my choice impact the environment, right? Is there anything that's sustainable that I'm doing? Is my business doing anything to help the environment? So these are all some of the things that you need to keep in mind when you're making a choice. So adding to that, oops.
So many of you have this question in mind, that which industries should I work, which industries will get impacted, which industries will see a decline due to this current pandemic situation. So we have collated a few industries and discussed a few industries which you should actually watch out for. So, for example, the insurance industry will definitely see a boost in the coming few weeks or months because people would like to take a better health insurance or a medical insurance because of the scare around coronavirus and the devastation it has had for the lives of people. So watch out for companies that come to you from the insurance sector. They definitely amp their recruitment needs, and you have a better chance of getting a job out of an insurance sector. Similarly, a sports and an entertainment industry, uh, be it be it amusement parks, be it major sports events. IPL got cancelled. All major amusement parks, big corporates like Imagica, Disney, Universal Studios, NBA, Olympics got postponed to the next year. So sports and entertainment industry, these are one of the biggest industries in the world. They are going to get impacted very hugely because of the pandemic situation. Hyperlocal markets, the aggregators such as Zomato, Instacart, Swiggy, all these companies are providing those home deliveries and services which will actually complement the pandemic situation. The basically stay away from each other concept. So that's gonna see a rise. You'll definitely be using, people will definitely be using more of Zomato, Swiggy in the upcoming days, and probably not be visiting restaurants because of the social distancing concept. And we feel for the next few quarters, this is gonna be the space. So watch out for companies like Zomato, Instagram, Swiggy, Instacart, Swiggy. Another industry that's gonna hit severely is the travel and tourism industry. Because of this pandemic situation, people won't want to travel. It's been almost a 2 month period that we have been stuck in this in our houses. Hotel industries, aviation industries, travel, these are gonna get severely impacted. Indigo, SpiceJet, Oyo, Make My Trip, these companies will. You must be hearing a lot of news because of pay cuts, salary cuts, uh, and uh, and people getting laid off in these companies. Although this situation will be very short-lived, as soon as the lockdown overs, travel and tourism industry will bounce back, but the social distancing concept will, personally, we feel, will stay for a while and is going to impact these industries. But definitely, these industries will bounce back in the coming future, probably in 2021. Two industries that will see a rise is fintech and e-commerce. People will start using more of these payment apps such as Paytm, PhonePe, more of e-commerce companies for home deliveries such as Amazon and Flipkart for both essential and non-essential deliveries. Several of you are from the IT industry. IT industry is one of the best place to be in. I'll showcase you in the subsequent slide how the pandemic situation has given a boost to the IT industry. So companies like Zoom, companies like Slack, Netflix, Amazon, they have seen rapid and increase in their usage uh, because of the pandemic situation. Their shares, their stock prices have shot up like anything. Their profits have shot up like anything. The IT industry in India will again see a rise. People will look for solutions, look for software that will actually help them uh, move to a technology front. They'll start using technology in order to improve their processes, improve their save upon their resources. So because of that, IT industry and technology companies will see a definitive boost, be it companies like Infosys, be it companies like TCS. Yes, there will be certain impact on the employee front, the concept of work from home will definitely become part of our lives. But in terms of requirements, in terms of projects which come to these companies, they'll definitely see a rise. Thus, they'll see a rise in recruitment as well. Although there might be a certain downfall for a shorter period of time, probably 1 or 2 quarters of 2020, but for upcoming near future, you'll definitely see a rise of technology companies and product companies, technology product companies. So one should not be discouraged, but one should look forward to the future and believe on the research, the what economists are saying, what experts are saying, and hopefully we'll IT India as an IT hub will benefit out of this specific trend of the pandemic.
Absolutely, that's a great understanding about the current scenario, as well as what is forthcoming. And like you mentioned, Vaibhav, there will be a short window where there will be a slump of sorts. And for anybody who thinks that they can make the most of that slump, to go ahead and pursue higher education. And for all of you who have already confidently said that yes, I do want to pursue higher education, I have a short a clip about how you can go ahead and pursue things. Now, if you are looking at overseas education, for instance, you will need to invest over a year to prepare for the whole process. And here's a glimpse of everything. So about 3 to 4 months in the first phase, where you will have to apply to universities. You will have to collate all your documents, be it your transcripts, your academic scores, your GRE or GMAT, your IELTS or TOEFL. All of that needs to be in place, right? So of course, English proficiency tests are IELTS and TOEFL. We'll get into the details about the tests very soon. Or maybe I can just tell you, GR and GMAT is, of course, GRE is for pursuing science-related subjects, GMAT is for management-related subjects, and they are all of this needs to be done within the first 4 months of your preparation. Next, within the next 3-4 months, you will be applying to universities. Now, what is the application process? What are the different components of the application? You will have to write a statement of purpose. You will have to have a letter of recommendation at hand. A statement of purpose is basically an essay which talks about you, right? So you have to put yourself with the best foot forward and impress the university and tell, this is who I am, these are these are what my goals are, and this is how I will bring prestige to the university and how I will impact lives once I study at your university. Similarly, you will have essays that you need to answer, a letter of recommendation which you will need to submit. An LOR is, a letter which is written by someone who is, already made a place in the industry for themselves. For example, a professor or a manager whom you've worked with. And it's them writing a letter to the university telling about how you have impacted or how you have added to the space that you want to pursue a career in, right? Next is paying the application fees. Some universities don't charge an application fee, but some do. It can be anywhere around $25, $50, depends from university to university. And once you do submit all of this, of course, adding a request for a scholarship is also an important aspect of this phase. A lot of students that come and talk to us, question whether they should apply for a scholarship or not. And I say that 100% yes. Find the right scholarship, look at the eligibility criteria always before making the decision, and definitely apply for the scholarship. There are different kinds, need-based, merit-based, some order offered by private organizations. So there's a plethora of them. It's just a matter of picking one and applying for it. Once you're done with the application process, towards the last 4 months, you will be, once you get an admit from the few universities, again, how do you choose universities? That's a big question. So I would recommend you look at it in three buckets, right? There's a dream university bucket, a reach university bucket, and a safe university. So all of them, so for dream, you need to have at least two universities there, which have, it's an ambitious goal of getting there, maybe a 10 to 20% chance, but still you want to apply to this university, because if you make it, then nothing like it. Reach universities are like a 50-50, 60-40 chance of you cracking through this university, and therefore this mid-tier university, again, two universities at least to apply to from this bucket. Safe universities, on the other hand, there's a 90% chance, 80 to 90%. These are your backup options. You should be able to get into at least one university that you pick from, this bucket. So again, like I said, two each, and therefore 5 to 8 universities you should definitely be applying to. And once you apply to all these universities, you're bound to get an admit, hopefully with a scholarship from at least a few of these universities. Once you go ahead with a certain university, if you have to, you will go ahead with a student loan as well. There are multiple options open to students. There are banking organizations and non-banking organizations as well that offer student loans, and it's just a matter of putting forward your application, right? And once you've gotten all your financial documents in place, your loan in place, is the next big milestone, and that is getting your student visa. Very crucial step. It's very important to practice well, because you get those 30 seconds, you get that 1 minute to convince the visa embassy official to tell why you deserve to go there and deserve to study, and make the most out of your career. So again, work very hard for that particular window. And once you have your visa stamped, it's just a matter of putting together everything, prepare for your travel, your SIM cards, your everything that you need to have at hand, and all of that's done. And then it's just a matter of flying to your university, right?
Amazing, amazing. Before we move on, guys, we would have a quick Q&A session. Uh, Please feel free to ask questions regarding anything around jobs, current scenario, any doubts which you have related to a specific industry, about higher education, and we'll answer those questions quickly. We already have a few questions that have come up. Are you going to discuss about master's opportunity in India as well? Uh, Feel free to ask questions about a master's opportunity in India. Primarily, masters in India can be categorized into two regions, specifically for engineers. One is the GATE examinations. If you want to pursue probably a master's or an MTech in India, or there if you want to pursue MBA, typically people go for a CAT examination. If you have specific doubts related to a specific domain, feel free to ask Avi. Uh, Shubham has a question. Won't COVID pandemic have a negative effect on admissions in foreign universities? So would it be better to wait for 1 or 2 years? Shubham, I would actually disagree with you, considering the research and we what we have observed with foreign universities. Although most universities have deferred campus-based education for 2020, student universities are accepting uh, across the globe. Universities across the globe are accepting admits for spring 2021, which is January 2021, which is like 6-7 months from now. So the effect of the pandemic is very short-lived. Even if you are applying for a fall 2020, which is September 2020, the coming season, the coming session, your entire academics is being done through online classes. So universities are all prepped and ready for their international students. So if you are interested in international education, feel free to reach out to us. We'll clarify upon your doubts, and let me assure you that universities are all ready and they are prepared for all contingencies. They take care of their international education very seriously, and with respect to health resources, with respect to accommodation, they are all prepped for this session. Shrishti, yes, this recording will be available. Hitesh has a question. Will master admissions in foreign universities be affected for 2021? So as I mentioned, Hitesh, universities are taking admissions for 2021, for January 2021. So feel free, and their application process has already started. So feel free to start applying for admissions for spring 2021. If you are still interested for September 2020 intake, Australia and Canada are still taking admits. Major Australian and Canadian universities are taking admits for fall 2020. So because Canada and Australia are one of the least affected countries when it comes to COVID-19, so they are still accepting admits. What will be the scenarios for core jobs in automation and mechatronics field for students passing out in 2021? So automation and mechatronics are, again, technology related fields. So they'll definitely be one of the least impacted industries because of the current scenario. And you can definitely see a rise in automation. Companies would want to reduce dependence on human beings and would like to utilize automation and mechatronics to basically compensate on the humans. So they'll probably want more reliance on machines and process automation rather than reliance on human beings.
Yep, and I'm just going to take a few questions here from the Q&A section. As ma'am said, as per academic scores matters, but what if the academics are not from the domain which you want to pursue? That's absolutely fine. See, as long as you show that you have, put together effort in what you have studied, that's more than enough. And at the same time, like we said, go ahead and take up a few courses in the domain that you're looking forward to, right? Now, suppose you've studied engineering, but you want to shift to, say, management, then take up those certifications and add them on your SOP. That's the best thing you can do.
Look for certifications, look for internship opportunities, do skill development in the domain you want to pursue. That's where you are able to convince that in spite of me pursuing my education, I have projects, I have certifications, I have internships in the specific domain. That's how I can showcase my interest.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another question from Ashish. He says, how do you decide which country you want to study in? Brilliant question, Ashish. So there are a few parameters that you need to keep in mind before you make a choice. Okay. Now these parameters are going to be things like visa and permanent residency. That's one thing. Now, before I get into these parameters, you need to understand which are the top study destinations and then compare them for these parameters, right? So there's USA, there's Canada, there's Australia, there's Europe. Now, all of them will be better than another in one of these aspects or more when you compare them. So for PR exam, for instance, Canada and Australia are very welcoming, right, for international students. In terms of academics, which is the second parameter, USA is known to be, at the top since few decades now when it comes to academia and research. So definitely USA in that space. Then the third parameter would be understanding job opportunities. Now, again, there are job opportunities across all of these countries, but then again, USA is great. Canada, again, stands top among job opportunities, so does Australia. Another aspect can be scholarships. Now, you need to understand which countries are fostering education. USA again, Canada, Europe, they're all. Germany, for instance, offers a lot of courses with 100% scholarship, or there are fee waivers. But then you need to understand, what do I have in my profile to get that scholarship? For instance, Germany, you need to have a B2 in the language proficiency, German, to get there and to be able to crack that scholarship. So that's another aspect. And last and the most important aspect is your budget, right? So when you think about finances, some countries will be a little more affordable than the other. Europe, for instance, is a little more affordable. Australia is a little more affordable than, in comparison to a USA. Canada would also be a little more affordable than USA. So these are the parameters that you need to keep in mind before saying that, okay, this is a country I want to go to. And of course, which universities are there, which courses are there, famous in these countries, is another thing that you need to look at.
Malvika, perhaps we have that beautiful slide, you remember? We can
Yes,
share
yes,
that beautiful slide where we have done a elaborate comparative analysis of various countries, and we can share it with our users
definitely.
in our post-event email. So stay
Absolutely.
tuned. We'll share this deck. We'll share the recording. We'll share a complete deck, the presentation with all the nuances about international education, and you can go through that. We'll take
Absolutely.
a few more questions. I'm an engineering student. I want to pursue psychology, but to be a little wise about my choice, I do something like behavioral economics. That might be definitely. I personally was a big fan of behavioral economics during my MBA. It helps me understand those nuances. Things like consumer confidence, things like or macroeconomics, things like microeconomics, all those stuff, and it was an area of interest for me as well. So, in order to showcase your interest, probably if you want to pursue an MBA or a master's in behavioral economics, probably in a foreign university, you need to showcase some projects or some research or some internships that you have done in this specific area for you to get a scholarship. Uh, Try to reach out to people on LinkedIn who work in this space and get ideas, get mentorship from them. Try to pursue projects independently outside your academics to get a hand of what behavioral economics is. Try out MOOCs, massive online courses like on Coursera, like Udemy, like Udacity, like edX, and you'll find a lot of courses on behavioral economics that will actually give you an edge, definitely. So
Absolutely.
in continuation to that, how do I select the best country for behavioral economics? So behavioral economics, there are a lot of top universities across the globe that offer masters in behavioral economics. Uh, Again, as Malvika mentioned for the previous question, the selecting a country depends on many aspects, ranging from future goals. Do you want to stay there? Do you want to come back to India? Quality of education, PR and visas, scholarships, affordability, return on investment via jobs. So you have to think of multiple aspects, multiple avenues before you select a country. So reach out to us. We'll help you decide which country is the best for you for behavioral economics.
Absolutely. Uh, we'll just take up one
Yeah,
more
Prince.
question, I guess, so that,
Yeah.
yeah. So we have a question from Sai. He says, in this situation, should we join a well-established company or a startup? Very quickly, honestly, Sai, it really depends on the industry you're going for.
Correct.
Like we discussed earlier, it doesn't matter whether it's a well-established or a startup. If it's in a thriving space, it will definitely grow. One more question. Do
As
online.
I would like to add on to that, as most of you, for most of you, this will be your first job. You should look for learnability, look for the exposure you get. It can be through an established company, it can be through a startup. Don't look for job security. look for learnability. If
Yeah.
think of through which organization I'll be able to learn, ramp up my learning curve, through which organization I will be in a much better growth trajectory. Look for those sort of companies. It can be offered through a startup or it can be through a well-established company.
Shall we go ahead with questions, or shall we?
We'll take up a few more questions quickly.
Okay.
Can you give me an idea about CAT and GATE entrance examination? So CAT, if you want to pursue a management course, an MBA, then you need to give a CAT. CAT is again an aptitude-based examination. GATE, if you want to pursue an MTech or a master's in technology, you need to give an GATE. GATE is specifically domain specific. So if you are a computer science student, you need to give a GATE examination for computer science. If you are a mechanical, then GATE examination for mechanical. It is specifically for MTech in the IITs and other institutions. Do online internships count? Online internships, that's a term which I haven't heard of. Internships basically can be work from home or from an offline, that's from the office of a company. Not sure what online internship means.
Assuming it's a work from home kind of a setup, but I think if the profile is, robust, if what you've done is substantial,
Mhm.
then I think it should be fine.
It depends upon what your learnings have been. So if
Yeah.
your learnings are good and you are able to showcase that, then that definitely counts. What if the academic scores is low? If you have academic scores, then you need to compensate it with various other things: projects, internships, soft skills, certifications, social cause, joining a social cause. You need to showcase all of that and have a solid reason why academics were low. If your academics were low, I have compensated this with other stuff, which I rightly mentioned: internships, projects, work experience, social skills, all that stuff, co-curricular activities. That's how you compensate your low academic scores. Which country would you recommend for higher studies related to mechatronics? Again, there are so many countries, so many universities that excel in mechatronics. Selecting a country not only depends on one aspect, but multiple aspects, future goals, all that stuff which we discussed. We'll share that presentation, how to select a country, and you can definitely look into that. How to grab job during placements for going on campus. So it's all about what you showcase during an interview. It's about how you groom yourself, how you present yourself during an interview. It's not about blabbering what you have done. Talk about strengths, talk about weaknesses. Tell them that I know about myself. Talk about not only about academics and projects and internships that you did. Talk about how you can add value to an organization. Always and always, before you go in for an interview, research about the company, research about the job profiles, ask for check upon the manager, check upon the interviewer's profile before you go. Ask your training and placement department who will be taking an interview. Ask for the name, search them on the LinkedIn, check for their areas of interest, and try to impress. By knowing the people is half battle won. So know people and try to impress them by your know-how, rather than showcasing about your academics, your proficiency. Can we do more? Can we do more than one internship in the same company? Yes, very well. You can do as many internships in one company if your learning curve is definitely there.
Is it a good option to pursue higher education for now, so that when you complete higher education, the world's economy will be stable and it will not affect your career? Yes, that's a great way to think of it. currently, if you start preparing for your tests, once you finish putting forward your applications, you will, for example, be applying for a spring 21 or a fall 21, which by then things will be a lot better, even in universities. And once you finish your course, you will have an edge or over all others. You will be finishing with your masters, and your return on investment is going to be so high that you would be at a way higher level, even with a starting salary, that you'll be much happy with your decision. So yes, definitely. Can you suggest some good courses for marketing and management? There are a plethora of them, and simple courses like Google Analytics, going ahead and learning the basics of presentation, video editing, understanding different tools such as customer relation management tools, understanding the basics of ads, Google Ads, understanding how keywords work, Search Console. I think we can take up an entire different session on that if we were supposed to. But yeah, there are so many out there. You just have to search and take up one after another, right? And majority of them are free, right? So definitely that can be done. Where can I find details? We've finished that. What future does an engineer have if he wants to pursue an MBA afterwards? So for an engineer who wants to pursue an MBA, first thing, of course, ramp up your profile with the right certifications like I just discussed, and understand which space you want to go in. Now MBAs are not plain Jane, they are specialized, they're filled with specializations, like an MBA specialization with data science. So understand which one you want to take up, and then go ahead and wrap up your profile for that.
A few more questions, and then we'll probably take another set of questions towards the end of the session. During the lockdown now, isn't it possible for us to have an offline internship, and later we won't have a chance once our colleges resume? What can we do to make it up for it, and will this situation be taken into consideration? Yes, definitely. Most organizations are working on an on a work from home basis. So all internships have been transitioned into a work from home internship for all major organizations. So yes, universities, jobs will, recruiters will definitely consider offline internships, which is basically work from home internships. So need not worry about that. And definitely universities and recruiters will consider those. If you have a learning curve, if you are able to show that you have learned so much.
Absolutely. Earlier you talked about entertainment industry taking a hit due to current situation. What about the game development domain? It should experience a boost. Yes, it will. Just like, just think of it like this. What are you doing right now? You are watching movies, you are watching series,
Netflix.
You are playing games, right? So if you are doing that, there is a possibility that there are people doing this at scale. Go back, check reports, and see whether this hypothesis is correct or not. And I believe it is. So definitely go ahead and you can pursue a career in that space as well.
Correct. Malvika, let's discuss about iSchool Connect quickly, and then we can address the remaining of the questions.
Absolutely.
So, guys, iSchool Connect, the company which we represent, is a Google-sponsored company. We are a technology company based out of Boston, Mumbai. We have several offices in Southeast Asia as well as in Hyderabad. We'll soon be opening offices in Pune and New Delhi. So what we do is we create AI, ML-based technology tools to help students pursue international education. So we do it through a lot of tools that we have created in-house. We have a dedicated artificial intelligence, machine learning team, which day in, day out work to create new and better tools for you to make better and informed decisions about international education. So how do we help it? Next slide. So we help with initial counseling, shortlisting countries, shortlisting programs through various tools. We have a recommendation engine tool wherein you just log into our website, register on our website, and you can try it out, this tool for free. You just put in your profile details, your test scores, your areas of interest, and it will give you countries and universities and programs under the Dream Reach Safe bucket, so that you have that clarity which university, which school I am eligible for. So try out this tool on our website. It's available for free. Register and try it out for free. And you'll be able to see which schools, which universities are best suited for my profile. We provide you the document checklist because universities require a lot of documents. We provide you that checklist and help you collate those checklists. We have experts which handhold you for that entire process of studying abroad applications, and we help you with that entire process. Moving on, once you subscribe to our iSchool Connect services, you get a dedicated mentor which helps you with that entire process. We have created another amazing AI-based tool wherein you just which helps you with your essays and your SOPs. Just copy paste your essay and your SOP and click on analyze. You'll get a bunch of feedback in real time, not only on content but also on various aspects of language, content, have written about, so things like, have you written about your motivation to study? Have you written about work experience? Are your future goals clear? So all things that a university looks for in an SOP, which is a statement of purpose or an essay, all things are taken care by the tool. We have created another AI-based amazing tool for video, for visa assistance. You sit in front of a laptop, in front of a camera, and you get feedback in real time because our machine analyzes your facial movement, your speech, your gestures, your emotions, and gives you feedback as to how confident you are, how truthful you are, how assertive you are, how focused you are, so that you can improve upon your interviews, not only for visa and MBA interviews, but also for your job interviews. Again, this tool is available for free. Register on our iSchool Connect and you can try out this visa interview assistance, video interview assistance tool for free. Practice for your interviews and get feedback in real time. Try it out for free and give us a feedback how you feel that. The last phase is basically when your applications get accepted. That's the fly phase. We have collaborated with a lot of companies across the globe, and which help you with all sort of assistance like travel. You can book travel, book tickets. You can book your accommodations through a company called as Force. We have collaborated with them. You can get loan assistance through India's biggest NBFC, which is INCRED. We provide scholarship assistance, all that through our platform. So probably we can skip the demo part and we can take a few more questions with respect to careers, with respect to international education. So try out our tool. Can we move on to the next slide? Try out, register on iSchool Connect. You can reach out to us on any of through any of these channels. You can reach out to us on all our social media channels. Our social media handle is iSchool Connect. You can reach out on the phone. You can reach out to us on email on hello@iSchoolConnect. We'll quickly take a last few questions. So doing MBA in India is good or abroad? See, there are multiple aspects which you need to consider. MBA in India might be cheaper than MBA in abroad, but getting a decent, good college in India is far more difficult in India as compared to getting it abroad. So clearing CAT and getting into an IIM with a 95, 96 percentile and above is very difficult when there are lakhs and lakhs of students appearing for CAT. Whereas getting into an Ivy League with decent academic scores, with decent GRE, GMAT scores can be far more easier than getting into a MBA college in India. ROI definitely can be one deciding factor. If you clear an IIM, then ROI might be higher. But if you might not land an IIM, ROI might not be that higher. Whereas getting an ROI from an MBA institution in USA can be much more easier. Pursuing MBA would be more beneficial abroad or in India, current scenario. So hopefully I answered both these questions. Okay. Can we get the recording of this session for who you are not able to attend? Yes, definitely. The recording of this session will be available for all students. Regarding GATE, do you think the exam will be pushed later or they'll continue colleges online? Considering the present scenario, the GATE examination might happen in the later half of June or the early part of July once the lockdown gets over. So stay tuned for notifications by the GATE Association, and hopefully they'll release a notification very soon. Is it the right time to get a job right now? Considering I would like you all to wait for a few more months. Probably things will turn around in the month of August when the placement season for most of you will kick in. So wait for a few months. It's too early to comment upon this present situation. So wait for a while, and hopefully you will get a credible answer. So Priyank has a question. I am a computer science student. Considering that most companies will stop hiring due to pandemic, which in turn will affect our placement season, should we rather think of pursuing masters? Priyank, you are right in some ways, but the situation of a hiring pause will be very short-lived. So probably you'll see a recession, as we previously showed. The recession will be very short-lived, might only last for a few months of 2020, might only last for probably August or September 2020. But if things turn for the worst, it will be a good idea to pursue masters, be it in India, be it abroad. So feel free to reach out to us if you desire, if you want more information regarding masters in India or abroad. We'll be happy to help you out. Sure. I think that's all the questions today. We have already exceeded 7 minutes beyond the designated time. I thank you all for attending this session. Hope this was fruitful for you all. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that we were able to answer most of your questions to the best of our knowledge. But if you feel that you need more information with respect to any other aspect, reach out to us on the numbers which are there. Reach out to us, like, share, and subscribe all our content on all our social media channels. Reach out to us on WhatsApp on this number, mobile number, or email us with your doubts, and we are just a click away from you.
Absolutely. And we have a WhatsApp broadcast that has multiple news updates, genuine updates on what's happening with the current situation in terms of the industries, especially in terms of the universities and their deadlines, right? So do join the WhatsApp broadcast. It's the same number, I believe. All you need to send in is a start ISC, and that's it. And you'll start receiving all your updates, right? Once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the students who've attended and to NMIMS, the officials who have helped us, reach out to all you amazing students. It was absolute pleasure talking to you guys and to answer all these questions, right?
Hopefully this was useful for most of you guys, and reach out to us if you have any doubts. Thank you so much for attending this session.